The answer to that.
Sure. I mean, you got to
Better
stay
than most
honest with
people.
yourself.
Yeah, I'm doing better than most people, but I think like all of us, we could be doing a little better.
And, again, it's okay. It's okay. It's an obstacle. It's um, a little bump in the road that we just have to recover from.
A little one,
I
just a
mean,
little.
it, eh, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? I'm talking to people every single day, and I'm talking to school owners every single day. Are we live?
Yeah, we're lying.
Because my thing is not pulling up. um, School owners like freaking out, and they're not able to be in control of their emotions, be in control of their business.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of us, especially in our circles, we're movers and shakers. We're used to always doing something. So there's a lot of frustration. I was telling Heidi last night, it's like I almost feel trapped because I have all these things I want to do. And, like, it's not that I'm not doing nothing or not that I'm doing nothing. It's not that I'm doing nothing. I'm doing a lot. I'm probably working harder than ever.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's like we're used to moving forward at a certain pace and getting a certain amount of stuff done, and that's not happening. So it's very frustrating, to want to do stuff and not be able to do it, and not just sitting in the house. I mean, that's frustrating on its own. But just being able to, all these plans that we put in place all the time are just kind of stalled at the moment. So,
exactly. And that's the pivot that we talk about all the time with the school owners in terms of being you know an entrepreneur, right? Like we always have to be ready to make that next shift, or you know do that, make that, hustle that next move. And unfortunately, and I'm saying it again and again and again and again, if you let this situation control you, it's not going to be pretty for you. You know what I mean? And just try to control the situation as much as possible. Now, there is so many things that's out of our control, right? Like there's some things we cannot do. We cannot leave the house. We cannot do this. We cannot do that, right? But what can you do internally? What can you do with your business, with your community, for your business and for your community that will just take you to that next level? Um, Before we get started with our topic today, let me drop this as a mindset. Instead of constantly having those negative thoughts in your head, guys, go ahead and you know, grab your phone or grab a notepad or something, and on the notepad or your phone, go into notes and create positive notes and negative notes. Okay, the pros and cons.
watch this. Let's take that to the next level.
Yes.
If some of you are comfortable about who you are and about being publicly raw and honest, there are many people right now who are going through the same exact challenges that we are. And like, I'm honest, I'm feeling challenged.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not going to get through it. I don't want anybody to think like that, but I'm human and I'm feeling the challenges. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to take John's idea and go public with it. So imagine the service, the mental health service to your community. If you were able to say, like a TikTok length video, not like a big YouTube length video, just a TikTok length video, about a minute. Wow, guys, here's what I'm feeling today. Here's my negative thought of the day. However, here's what I'm doing about it to change that mindset. I'll talk to you tomorrow and we'll see how it went. And then the next day you say, wow, yesterday I really struggled with it, or I did well with it, or I saw no change. But here's today's negative or challenge that I'm having and how I plan on dealing, and just document it every day.
Yes.
Because very often on social media, we put out, and we do it too, to a certain extent, we put out, these are the good things happening to me.
Yes.
And it makes everybody else who has like broader perspective on their own lives feel as if they can't keep up with us, and that something must be wrong with them because they're not like us.
Yeah.
It's very important to sometimes show that rawness You don't be Debbie Downer. Sorry, Debbie, if you're watching. don't don't be Debbie Downer, but you can certainly go on there and let people know that we're all human and this is how I'm dealing with it. And if you need help with this, reach out to me. Not me, but you. I mean, me too, but you.
So you want to write them both down, the positive and the negative, and every single time a negative thought comes in your head, go in there and put a tick mark beside it, but then go to the positive side and look at all the positive things in your life. I bet you anything, all the positive things will more likely outweigh the negative things. The only negative things that's going on, that's happening in our head right now, if it's not a money factor, it's probably an emotional factor because you're not seeing a whole lot of people. You're probably not working out the way you're supposed to be working out because you're really trying to do everything that you can. You're not hugging people or spending that time, with family. You're not getting those doses, flowing properly in your system. You're maybe overeating because you don't know what to do or what else to do. So there, again.
So basically, you just described the average life of a child.
But it is.
So this is what you guys need to learn from this is when you're frustrated and you snap at your kids or you drop your students to do knuckle push-ups because they breathed in when everybody else was breathing out. This is the kind of life that kids have to live.
Yeah.
Being told what to do, when to do it, what not to do, not knowing what's going on. So use it as an empathy lesson.
Yeah. You know what? This weekend, I finished teaching classes by 11 o'clock. No, sorry, 11:45. And then went upstairs. My house is a total disaster right now. To add on to it, so that's the negative thing, right? That most people will be like, "Oh, it's the kitchen, it's this, it's that." Trust me, it is frustrating because I'm not really able to cook, right? And we may have to go out and eat or whatever and spend that extra money. Like seriously, I can give you the list, but no, we decided to go in the garage and just clean it out and reorganize the garage because half the kitchen is in the garage. And then before we know it, we went into the closets and we started cleaning. Like we did stuff as a family. Like we did things as a family just to lighten up the mood and, be more productive instead of just sitting on the couch going, "Oh, I just don't know what to do." You know what I mean? So negative thoughts, write them down and figure out what would be the positive thing to do to be more productive.
Yeah, the more you can kind of get done. And I know everybody's out there like, hey, now that you have all this free time, let's do this push-up challenge. Look, I've been working like 16-hour days for the past week and a half. I had to just stop yesterday.
Yeah.
And by stopping, I mean, I only took like 5 or 6 calls from people. It's hard to get away right now and so many people need the help, but I had to stop working on things just to kind of reset. And by resetting, I was able to say, all right, look at all this I've gotten done, and now I can clearly see what I have to do. Once we get off the call here, I got a coaching call, and then I have like my last few things from the weekend that I chose to set aside to get back at them. But I feel a little more refreshed. Yeah. I'm sure Heidi was ready to strangle me over the past few weeks because she's like, how's it going? Well, let me tell you something, and just start going on.
I mean, we're not getting sassy for no reason, right? We do take on a lot more than what we want to, at the moment because, we want to be superheroes to our students, right? We want to be positive for our students and their families, but we also want to be positive for, the community and everybody. And the only people, again, just like kids, right? The only people we sass at are our loved ones. You know what I mean? Because I know Heidi, my wife, Melody, they're not going to come back and like chew us out. You know what I mean? They're not going to say, you know what? I'm so done with you, because it is stressful. You know what I mean? It is stressful. And more so when you're trying to keep that high spirit, like, let's go, we got this. And I know we got this, right? But then some of us, we put out so much positive energy into the world and into everybody else. And because in a way we're not getting it back, You know what I mean? We're not getting that positive energy back like we used to when we are in the studio training with our children and our students, and they're doing amazing, and you're feeling that love back again. You know what I mean? Like, so there is a lot going on right now emotionally. Just it is like just I don't know.
And embrace it, guys. Like, look, nobody can be 100% positive 100% of the time. That's a clinical condition, and you should seek treatment if you are. You know, you just can't let the downside grind you down. And if you need to vent or get away up into the woods for a few hours or talk to a mental health professional, whatever your thing is, be sure to include that in your grind, so it doesn't wear you down. So by now, I mean, we're a couple of weeks into this. In New York, we've been doing it for 3 weeks now, something like that, where we started really feeling the direct effects. I think by now, most people are kind of catching their flow.
Yes.
And I don't want to say the catchphrase, but it really does fit, the new normal.
Pivoting?
I think most of us have like our video set up one way or another. We've got communication with our students. I think with 27 states on some level of lockdown, we're all kind of agreeing here that we need to take steps moving forward for the less than half of you that haven't felt this yet. So by now you should have at least some new whatever it is for your business, whether it's live, recorded, drawing things out and sending it by snail mail, whatever it is. So what you want to start to do now, I think, the episode today is now and later. So we're going to talk about it now first. Is now that you've got like your emergency reactionary things in place, what are you doing to systematize them, to improve on them a little bit? Because we have a lot of options. My studio has a solution. Spark has a solution. Market Muscles has a solution. And we're all getting hit with all of these solutions, and they're all fantastic. So I think now we've all kind of chosen one, at least to get in place. So I think what you should be doing now is kind of looking at everything you're doing and saying, was this the best choice? Now that you're not scrambling, let's look a little closer. Am I using the best tech? I just ordered new, we got the Rode Go microphones we ordered, and they should be here in a day or so that my broadcasts have better audio. We're looking into new camera solutions. We're kind of upgrading what we're doing, not going crazy, because we're still looking at this as a temporary solution, for us. So what are the things that you could be doing now to improve the experience for you, for your team, for your students, and for your community? I think now is a wonderful time. If you guys haven't been doing public relations, not advertising, I'm talking about like some strong PR work, this is the time. It is so easy to get picked up by a local newspaper or news station, to be talked about by your local not-for-profits. Like, look, this is brand recognition, and especially if it's your personal brand, it's going to be even more powerful. So, like, John, what are you doing now that you've kind of settled in? Since last week you put together your studio. Are you doing anything this week to kind of, in some way, shape, or form, improve what's going on for the immediate future?
First week, it was all learning week, learning on my part. Like, in order for me to be the leader that we're talking about, it wasn't like, oh, I am not going to do it today.
Come on.
I'm not doing it today. It was more like, okay, you know what? I need to be the leader, where I need to figure out exactly how to systemize this, what we need to do, how we need to do it in order for this to work properly. So Jennifer was like, you know what? Let me handle the website. Let me handle everything that is technical, because for her, she can just sit there and muse on it, right? And I don't know if you've been to our website or not, but we launched the at-home training on the website, mini skills, early skills, basic skills, core, extreme, the at-home training. Oh, but wait, there's more. Click on this link and it's going to take you to virtual training, because Market Muscle came out with the virtual training by week 2, right?
Man,
So
those guys are insane.
listen, if you don't have a Muscle Market account, I don't get paid by Muscle Market, but shoot, we've been with them since like the second month they were in existence, and I have nothing to say but awesomeness. Steven is like one genius.
Look, I'm working Saturday night at like 12 midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and he's dropping stuff in the group saying, "Hey guys, this is what I just built. Send us a support request." I'm like, man, I'm glad I'm a night owl because I'm getting on it first.
Week 2, it was okay. Ladies, we need to crank out some classes. So yoga skills, Skillz Fit, all the stuff. Week 1, I was managing it with them. Week 2, they're on their own. Okay. Also, week 2, we launched midday classes for early and basic and early afternoon classes for early and basic. So instead of us working the 4 to 9 like we used to, I'm now offering more windows because those kids are at home with their parents. Parents are frustrated. They need that extra outlet, right? So it was like me and Jennifer sat there. We systemized how we can do those classes to make those classes even better, right? And then it was like, okay, hey, Signature Skills, we're going to do our first online class this weekend. So we did one last weekend. Simply because, like, how do you train fighters online? Well, that was my initial thought, right? And it was like, shoot, what am I talking about? Well, I can do this online. This is not hard. I can do this online. And it was a success. It was awesome. This week, we're probably going to add some more classes in the middle of the day for core and extreme. I'm getting a lot of requests for that midday class. Parents are frustrated at home. They're having to relearn. They're having to pivot.
Half an hour to just like decompress and go to the bathroom in peace.
Yep. So now that I've got Jennifer Randall's, Courtney, and Anna pretty much trained on them logging in, how to teach the classes, how to pay attention, to talk slowly over Zoom, because sometimes the language doesn't translate properly right away. Like, and if you guys are doing your Zoom and you're just like, parents are going to get frustrated very fast.
So you want the science behind this? I actually just looked it up because we had this same conversation. It was an opportunity for me to educate myself about it, because you know, a lot of the things that we do naturally, you know, kind of this innate understanding. So sometimes it's useful to have a team member that's challenged by it, so we can say, let me research this and tell you why. So we know, like, the language facilities of kids are still developing. We know that kids between 3 and 4 have that 30% or so of their language facilities. And it's not just vocabulary. It's not just that they only have 30% of vocabulary. It's the portions of the brain that understand speech are still developing. So a child that's around 3 or 4 years old comprehends at something like 110 words per minute. Some are more, some are less, but that's a good average. Kids from ages 5 and up are somewhere around 120 to 130 words per minute that they easily comprehend. And then by adult, we're working somewhere between 180 and 200 words per minute. Tony Robbins speaks at something like 200 words a minute, and that's when he's going slow and explaining stuff. If you've ever taken a Tony Robbins course or something, you know he gets going. So the ideal speech model for learning how to speak to kids, and this is even more important online, because something like 80% of speech is watching the lips and seeing the body language. Kids can't always see that on their screen. So they say the perfect model for us to practice with is Mr. Rogers. They say the perfect speech pattern or speech tempo for teaching kids is 124 words per minute. Mr. Rogers speaks at exactly 124 words per minute. So go watch some Mr. Rogers. I watched like 3 episodes the other day just to remind myself how this, and first of all, he is like the up here when it comes to connecting with kids, right? So if we want to be like somebody, he's a good model. So go watch the Mr. Rogers and measure his speech patterns against yours. And then do the same thing for your staff. You see
Yep.
how much slower. We have to speak like we're down in Georgia and get really slow.
Right.
Right? I reckon. Nobody talks like that when I go down there, though.
I mean, Georgia is in the South, but I don't think because it's such a melting pot,
That's true, yeah.
you know. Now, if you go
Especially right
to
here.
the outer skirts, South Georgia, then yeah. But not in the Atlanta area or the surrounding cities of Atlanta.
It's all right, because nobody up here says Long Island either.
No.
That's not true.
or,
People from the city say it.
or even talk like that.
Yeah. Hold on, I need to get another cup of coffee. Insane.
But
So,
the other thing that we're going to work on right now too is the new advertising.
yeah, guys, never stop marketing. You may have to change what you're saying, test new offers. I see a lot of people out there saying, well, I don't want to do any sales right now. It's not the right time. Well, when is
Who
it?
says?
It's always the right time. Now, you may have to change and adapt to the needs and desires of your community, but it is always the right time to be offering something. Like, look what Melody's doing. Melody has given out probably tens of thousands of dollars worth of content. You would have had to have been a gold level member for a long time to get a lot of the stuff that Melody's putting out in various areas of the community. Have we stopped selling Skillz?
No.
Oh, we had 4 signups in the past week or two.
Yeah, right.
It's never the wrong time to be selling, but it is always the right time to be cognizant of what your market wants, needs, and is ready to hear.
And if you're selling in a way that you're trying to recoup the thousands of dollars that you lost, then maybe you're being hungrier than normal. Like, sell it in a way because it's still a new concept. The best advice I'm going to tell you right now is this: think of the online concept as a brand new studio that you just opened up, and they're going to come in and enroll maybe at $70, $80 a month, just so you can get their feet in the doors, just so you can create that new culture or the new captivate the audience that's around you. You don't have to go charge $150, $200 a month, right? They're not in your studio, they're not training, right? So, or they're not training on your studio floor, they're training online. So bring them in at $70 a month.
It's no different than going out and doing a mass intro at somebody else's business. You know, in this case, it's online instead of in your training floor. Yeah, we're doing $57 a month, and you know, once this is all over, we're going to offer them some incentives to convert to on-site lessons. Now, I know some people are looking at this as this is the future of what they want to take their school, and we'll talk about that kind of in a minute. You know, that's depending on how you do it. That's all fine and good too. But we're looking at this as an opportunity to get as many people with eyes on our business as possible, so that when things settle down, and realistically, we're probably looking at June or July by us, all those people will now start getting my retargeting, my offers. They already will be hot leads because they've seen what we do, how we do it. Their kids are already kind of involved in what we're doing, or they're, you know, the adults. We'll have adult classes going too.
So earlier this morning, Kelly Edwards posted in the Skillz group, for those of you doing virtual classes, free or paid, how are you doing them? Are you doing one-on-one private lessons, incorporating them into your virtual group classes? If one-on-one, how long are the classes? Any information I may not be thinking of, thank you in advance.
There are a couple models for that.
Exactly. Yep.
So, John, what are you doing?
Okay, I'm pursuing it the exact same way as if I'm going to do it in the studio. All right. Mike calls me, he's interested, or Mike opts in. I pick up the phone. I'm going to call Mike and talk to Mike about our program, tell him who we are, what we do, because at this point, Michael still is a suspect. Okay. Maybe a little bit deeper into a prospect. It depends on the questions that I ask. Well, Michael, how did you find out about us? Did you do your homework? Did you get an opportunity to visit our website and understand why we're different than most of the martial arts studios? If he answers those questions properly, then I'm going to go straight into, well, Mike, you know what? That's awesome. Why don't we do a one-on-one virtual class? And the only thing I'm going to need from you, Michael, instead of you coming into the studio, because we can't, I'm going to need like a 4 feet, 4 feet by 4 feet area in your house that I can see Johnny. Do you think that's doable? And then Mike will most likely say, yeah, of course. Well, Michael, I'd like to offer you a free private class. And during that private class, we're going to find out their strengths and their challenges. So say normally when we're doing the command skills where they're having to run and they have to run from one spot to another, I don't have to have them run from one spot to another. I can just have them run in place. The whole point is, stop and go.
Jacks,
It could be jumping jacks, exactly. I can see them do their push-ups. I can see them do their punches and their kicks. And also, guys, it all has to do with how you've got your camera set up. If your camera is set up like the way I am right now, it's probably not the best practice, okay? I've got a tripod set up where the camera is literally above me. So now it gives me a wider angle. So when I'm doing my punches, they're able to see me clearly doing the punches, okay? So that's going to be the first step. Michael, you know what? Johnny did amazing in his pre-evaluation. What I'd love to do right now is to share my screen with you. I'm using Zoom, you guys. I'm walking Michael through the practice that I will be doing during class time. And when I'm sharing my screen doing Zoom, I'm going to share with him our tuition. Michael, these are our current tuition as if you're in my studio. However, what I want you to add to this is the live classes. We will now be offering live classes once we go back to the studio. In case Johnny misses class, guess what? He can go back and do class later on in the day. So, or if he's got soccer. So now we're already letting Michael know that these virtual classes, this is like, it's not going to finish once we're done with this. No, we're going to move forward with it. Like this is going to be our new pivot into the world, right? But Michael, we've got a special going on right now because the studio is not open. And until we open, what I'd like to offer you is our online Zoom classes for 50% of the cost. So instead of you paying $150 a month for quick math, you're going to now pay $75 a month. And Michael, our down payment is $299. I'm going to up the down payment another $100. But Michael, here's what the down payment is going to cover you. It's going to cover you for the first month. Okay, it's going to cover you for the traditional uniform, but it's also going to cover you for the class uniform. However, because you're not at the studio, you may need some equipment, right, Michael? So included in that is going to be our 2 clappers, 2 square pads, and a shield. So do it in a way that the value of the down payment is like $600, right? But you're giving them the down payment for $297. You're lowering the monthly payment. There's so many different
like
models.
Mailing the equipment kind of thing, drop shipping the equipment.
Bro, we can drop ship the equipment, or if they live close by, Michael, are you okay if I come and deliver the equipment to you? If you're not comfortable with it, I can ship it straight to your door.
Either way, whether you're shipping it or you're dropping it, I put the name tag addressed to the child.
Yes.
Because that, man, when I was a kid, even if it was a junk mail, it was like, oh, I got mail. I mean, I know kids are a little more jaded about such things these days, but it's still an amazing experience for them to receive, especially now. They need that dopamine hit of, what's in the box. So we're taking a different tack. So, John's tack is completely valid. And I do recommend that if you're going to do it that way, you do it just like that. We're just doing a different tack. So here's an option for you. We're looking at online classes, probably not as something we'll do going forward, unless needed, like in downtimes when we have summer slide because of kids are on vacation or, stuff like that, then we'll use it as a tool. We're looking at it as a lead harvesting platform. So I spent $50, which I already made back on an advertisement on Facebook. We already made it back. So what we're doing is we're giving people the free 2 weeks of our thing, which I'm using free for a reason. First of all, it's a community service right now. Second of all, this is something brand new for me and for the user, the user, like I'm back in the tech world, the member. So we're using free to pump up the numbers so I can flatten the learning curve, basically. So what we're doing is you sign up for that free 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, billing automatically kicks in. So I'm essentially selling a membership without ever talking to anybody. We're selling it at a lower price point though. So we're doing a little less hands-on. We'll give them a call and do the indoctrination, for lack of a better term, and all that. But then they're just right into our virtual classes. Now we are also capping our virtual classes so that, if I normally have 20 kids on my regular roster, I'm only going to add a certain amount more, and we'll see what those numbers end up being as we do more of this, so that I can still maintain one-on-one with my classes I need to, pulling them up, spotlighting them. When we're doing our classes, we're treating it like a TV show where we're pulling kids up, letting them do their stuff, talking about how awesome they are, so they're on the screen. Then phase 2 is going to be a second tier. So phase 1 is just, hey, you're paying $57 a month. You're just getting the virtual classes. Phase 2 will now include those perks, the one-on-one sessions where we'll actually schedule some time with you. And then phase 3 will be getting them over to real memberships. Well, real is not the right word, to our regular memberships. So what we're using it as almost like leads paying us to become leads. So again, a valid way to do it. You have to just kind of pick which one fits what you guys are doing.
I mean, listen, I don't think there are businesses out there that run their systems the exact same way.
No.
Right?
And just because you pick one doesn't mean you have to stay with it either.
Yep.
I might decide next week that this doesn't work and do what John is doing, or vice versa.
I mean, my entire concept with carrying on with Zoom is it doesn't cost me anything. All I have to do is put up that phone, put up that camera at the corner of the studio and let it run, right? Now, if it picks up and it becomes like a very money-making concept, I may hire somebody that can run it for me and answer the questions or whatever. But, at the end of the day, you have to do for yourself and for your business what's going to work for you guys. My brain works differently, okay? My engineering concept is working things backward. I don't work things forwards, okay? Where, and this, sometimes where me and Jennifer would have to sit down and talk, because Jennifer will say, wait, I don't understand it. I need you to explain it to me on paper. You know what I mean? Because I already see the vision.
Do you have a drafting table for when she asks that?
No, bro.
Charts and pointers and.
No, bro. But, when she asks me to write it down on paper, then I literally have to sit there and draw out the entire business model, which makes it even better, right? So instead of just like
things that maybe you missed.
Yeah, exactly. Or I would probably have to do it again and, because maybe I missed a step, and she still couldn't understand it, but I know it's going to work, right? So.
Cool. So this is like what we're all working on now. This is brainstorming what our offers are, improving our tech, training our teams, systematizing, communicating. So by now, you guys have some semblance of this is how you're running your business. Now, we were just told yesterday in New York that we will not go back to normal until a test has been devised and made readily available where we can test ourselves in our home as to whether we have this virus or not. So that means it's up to some company deciding that it is a lucrative enough endeavor to do that as to when we'll reopen. So we're forecasting June or July, realistically, is probably when we'll be able to reopen. I think if it goes much beyond that, there's going to be a revolution of sorts anyway. But so we're kind of looking at not every possibility going forward, because that would just leave you spinning. We're looking at probably the 5 or 6 most probable, your best case scenario, your worst case scenario, and then what are the 2 or 3 things in the middle that are most probable, and what will happen if we have to do that. So, for example, our worst case scenario is that, much like in Australia, they're leaving it. We just saw a big news story in Australia that the cops came in 6 strong into a martial arts business where they were only filming on site, not even working out. They were just filming like a video. And the cops came in and said, we're going to fine you $5,000 for being open and $1,000 for every person that's on site. And we're going to do that every day. Go home. So that's what we're looking at as our worst case scenario, that we all have to go home. So Heidi and I were talking this morning. Okay, so where do we move the couch? Where do we put the camera? I was looking at, do I have to improve my internet service at home, which we have a pretty good package, but not what I have at my business.
Now, let me play the devil's advocate with that.
Sure.
If you have not got in touch with your accountant yet, my accountant has already given me multiple ideas in terms of, it's not so bad after all. Guys, if you move your studio to your house, it's going to be a hefty write-off next year because of all of this. Like, first of all, how many of you work out of your studio, but you also work out of your home? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how many of you do the tax write-off
because
you've got an office in your home?
I'd rather have the income from being at the school than the write-off from being at home. But yeah.
Sure. But at the same time, if our leaders have asked us to stay away, not to be there, you know what I mean? Like, we have to take that in consideration, that our kids look at us with like, you know what, Mr. Salama, I see that you did the video from the studio. I thought you're not supposed to be there. Go ahead and answer that one. Well, you know what, Johnny, I understand, I have to do the videos so you guys can see them and watch me and be able to train at home. That's a very good, valid answer, right? But why can't you do it out of the house? Now, if you don't have the space, I understand. If you don't have the means, I understand. But you know what? This is where Michael and I are here for. We can definitely help you redesign, re-engineer your house. And it's an inconvenience to move the couch. It's an inconvenience to do everything. But at this moment, we want to keep our students. We want to keep our businesses. Whatever income that comes in, we're going to have to do. And like I said,
we're even planning for what happens if we lose the school altogether.
Yes.
Again, it's not likely, but it is a possibility, right? So we're planning for, all right, so we lose the building completely. What does it look like when we rebuild? Because look, I'm an entrepreneur. You close this business today, all right, it's tax season. It might take my accountant a couple days, but we're going to have another corporation set up really quickly.
Yep.
And then even if it starts at home, so I start charging $20, if what I was doing wasn't working and I need to downshift on my pricing. All right. So now I'm going to start something global at $20 a piece, and I'll have 1,000.
Exactly. And you don't have an overhead anymore. You don't have a studio anymore. You don't have to worry about paying lease and rent and gas and electricity and water and trash and cam and all the stuff. Now you're virtually training other people. I get it. I've probably got some people watching me right now going, that's not traditional. Oh, here we go again. Right? But
you'll never win an argument with somebody that uses that. They say it's not traditional because you can't do forms. You do forms, they say, well, you're not traditional because you can't fight. If you show you can fight, well, you're not traditional, you'll never win that fight.
Yeah, I was asked to be on a call last night with Adam, Tim, and a bunch of others. And one of the questions was, about testing. Guys, do the testing virtually. Technically, if your students are coming up on a testing and you know that they're ready, you can literally just make the decision and say, guys, parents, due to the circumstances, I'm not going to charge you for the testing fee, but I'm going to use the training in the studio and the fact that we have already approved them. We're going to go ahead and pass them. Testing is a formality. Okay. It's not a tradition. It's a formality. Okay.
For you guys that are Skillz members, look at how black belt testing is done in a pure Skillz format.
Yep.
The actual day of the test is done on site, but there are 3 months
prior to the
3
testing.
months of stuff that they do before you ever even see them.
Yep.
So look at that as a model, and then have your virtual test. You could challenge the snot out of them because you just sit there and have them do push-ups till you get tired.
We in the last 6 years we've been doing Skillz, we finally did a Skillz and a CTF testing. And yes, it took us almost a whole week to do the test for us to cover everything, right? But Master Stevens, who oversees me, he's my instructor and the school in terms of the ITF concept, he was like, wow. He had our core black. Well, for us, it's core black. Our core, who's testing out and going to extreme, he had them fight the extreme kids. And they were climbing mountains, man. They knew exactly how to get up and hit those teens right in the head. And the teens had to fight 4th and 5th degrees. There was like no mercy in there. Mm-hmm. And the parents were just awe because we were grilling them for the 3 months prior to testing. We took them and we trained them the exact same Skillz concept, and they were more than ready.
Yeah. Look, I mean, all things being equal, I would rather have a live in-person challenging day as well. But be realistic. Most people in the martial arts industry, and yeah, I'm going to say it, yeah, you're going to hate me, whatever. Most instructors in the martial arts industry use testing as a hazing ritual. That's it. My own test was, look, I fought for an hour straight after doing like 24 hours of testing over the past 2 days. It had nothing to, and I love my teacher, but it had nothing to do with my ability. It had to do with, I think I'm going to have him do more. It was very subjective. So this is an opportunity for you to take the most challenging parts that actually do have real value and find an objective way to put them into testing so that you don't need to sit there and just dog your students to prove they're good enough.
Yep.
So that's something I would definitely look into planning for the future, is how you're going to do your testing to make sure that it is challenging, because it should be.
So let me real quick come in. If you're supposed to have them spar, okay, and you want to see certain sparring strategies, go ahead and send them all an email with what you're expecting of them to do during the test. So the Skillz format has 8 different skills that they need to go through. 2 out of those skills format requires a one-on-one, like the self-defense and the sparring. Okay. In terms of board breaking, I'm sure you can let go of that. Okay. Because I honestly don't like it when the parents hold boards at home because they just don't know how. Okay.
And then
so in terms of the self-defense, if you're a jiu-jitsu school, if you're a an MMA school, if you're Hapkido school or whatever, send them a video with certain self-defense strategies that they can use their parents for. Send them a video with certain sparring strategies that maybe the parents can hold pads or hold pillows that they can show the techniques on, that's not complicated.
Let's get creative here. Let's leverage the mastermind here. So one of the things that the Gracie systems became famous for, aside from martial arts, was their flooring system. It sounds like a stupid thing, but I see it a lot even today. People that don't want to spend $15,000 on mats for their school, they build the Gracie floor, which is a system of putting down like carpet padding and canvas and whatever that actually comes out with a pretty good product based on things that you have at hand. How creative could you be about figuring out how to create at home a grappling dummy? Maybe you have some clothes that don't quite fit anymore. Stuff them with freeze bags full of sand and old clothes, and like figure something like that out And you can even make it a project or sell the plans. There's an entrepreneurial thing for you. Sell the plans of how to do it, how to build a grappling dummy at home. Now, is it going to be as good as rolling with a partner? No.
Sure.
It won't even be as good as rolling with a real grappling dummy. But if it allows them to show the concept, the application of the concept, and there's different ways to put pressure on people during testing. It doesn't have to be the fact that they're about to get choked out or knocked out. It could just be a time thing. You know, when we used to do like knot tying challenges, the knot tying challenge was how many knots could you make, or could you make 6 different types of knots? You've got 30 seconds or you fail. Go. Now, if you didn't tell me it was 30 seconds, I could probably make those knots in 20 seconds. The second you tell me it's 30 seconds,
pressure.
First knot is like, where's the end of the rope? You know, there's lots of ways to pressure test people. So be creative. And as you come up with these ideas, guys, share them with the community. You know, there's my challenge. The challenge is not to come up with the idea. The challenge is to come up with an idea that you can share with the community about how to make some piece of home training equipment. Now, try to keep it simple, right? I could go in my garage with my new table saw and whip up, you know, a wooden dummy or something like that. Not everybody has those tools or those skills. So come up with something simple. Man, our phones are ringing. That must be a sale. So let's look at, you know, I know there's some people are looking at this opportunity and saying, I only want to go, and again, here's the extremes and the things in the middle. I only want to go forward teaching online classes. Now, Gavin and Jackson, the Skillz reps over there in UK, they're building an entire online training platform, not Zoom.
I can't wait.
Like an entire, you know, designed for this. So there are going to be some people that take it completely online. There are going to be some people, probably like me, that go back to doing what we were doing because that's just my vision. It's just what I want to do. You know, it's nothing against this, but it's just what I want to do. And then there's the people in the middle that are going to be doing online classes and, you know, side by side, online classes and traditional classes. There's going to be people that do them together where they do their on-site class, but also stream it and hire maybe a producer to manage the feed. There's all these different possibilities in the middle. And I think, you know, looking forward at the possibilities for how long we might be closed or what that's going to look like, balanced against what's your vision for your future business. You should start having those plans now. Even if they're not, you know, step by step, this is how I'm going to do it, because we don't have, it's one of the struggles I think with this situation is we don't have a firm date. Like if you told me right now, hey, we're going to be closed until December 12th. Well, that would suck, but I have a date and I can work towards a solution to that date. It doesn't matter when the date is, I have a date. The challenge right now is we don't know. And then that's what's making it really hard. So I would have a set of plans for a few different versions of your business, just sketched out. You know, if you're a visual kind of guy, like I am, kind of sketch it out on a whiteboard. You know, some people like flow charts. Some people just like to have it in their head or whatever. But have a few versions of what your business might look like. And go a little more in depth then. Hey, right now we're doing virtual classes and it's great. So when we come back, I'm going to do virtual classes and live classes because there's going to be a lot of challenges to that. A lot of us are realizing, and like I've done teaching like this before. So I kind of knew what we were getting into. Like some of the tech was new and everything, but I knew what we were getting into. It is very emotionally demanding and energetically demanding to teach a class via video because you are carrying the vast majority of the energy in that class.
Yep.
You know, so think about how much energy it's taking you. And we're all doing, or most of us are doing, some time compressed classes. So think about the energy you're putting into a half-hour class. Could you carry that while also teaching a 1-hour class in pair with it? Now, some people could, and those might be the ones that can do both. The point is just be kind of mindful about, just because one thing works and the other thing works, they don't always work together without some thought.
Exactly. And that comes back to the personality, like you said, that comes back to the individual. Can they, oh my gosh, what's the word? That one word that we're not supposed to do, multitask.
There we go.
Ugh.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's something to consider too, is multitasking. There's something like 4%, I forget the exact statistic. It's something like 4% though, of the population does better when multitasking. The vast majority of us think we're doing better because we feel busier, but we actually have severe drops in productivity. So
Yep.
Are you the person that can multitask? You have one good thing, you have the other good thing. Bouncing back and forth can now mean you have two crap things. and we're not telling you go one way or the other. We're asking you to be mindful about some of the things that you plan on putting in place.
Yep. Test drive it in multiple ways. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I want to do this test drive for a week and get feedback. Hey, what did you think about it, Michael? Was that good? What changes do I need to make? Like every single day at the very end of the class. By the way, if the class is like the early and basic skills, we're teaching for 20 minutes, but we're opening the window for another 10 minutes for us to chat with the kids and chat with their parents, stuff like that. And you know what, Michael, we just finished the class. What feedback can you give me? What did we do good today? What do we need to work on today?
That's the important part. I know a lot of us are using this to like get like success stories and testimonials, after a great class, especially a one-on-one, chat with mom for 5 minutes. It's a great way to get a video testimonial. But don't just ask for smoke and rainbows. Make sure you're asking for what went right, what went wrong, because those have equal value to you. In fact, the what went wrong probably has more value to you, so that you can.
And they know that you're willing to do whatever it takes to get better. So my response is, you know what? I'm so thankful you told me that. I'm going to work on it. Please don't expect me to fix it overnight because it's not going to happen that fast, but just give me another week or so I can get this right.
Yep.
So again, give yourself a window.
We're asking the older kids too, hey, what did you really like about this class?
Yeah.
What did you absolutely hate about this class? Because you can see them sometimes. You'll ask, they'll roll their eyes because they don't think you can see them on video. So ask them, like, what did you really like and really hate about this class? So we're using this we've been talking for a while and we were just getting ready to do it when all this happened, taking our Storm Team concept and branching it off to a publicly available business model. So this whole video thing is probably where we'll go with that segment of our school. Part of what that's going to allow us to do, as I started up later this week, is have a focus group of so we talk about the antelopes in your school. You have mini antelopes in your classes. And for us, that's our Storm Team kids. So I'll be able to, do classes with my Storm Team kids. And then at the end, be like, just flat out honest, not having to sugarcoat it or filter it, just flat out honest. All right, guys, what'd you think? And they'll tell me really brutally, honestly, what they loved, what they hated. So having that focus group, and for you, it might not be Storm Team, it might be something else, but it gives me really valuable insight from the people. I want to say the people that I like the most in the school, because that's not true. That exemplar of what I want my school to look like. If I could get my whole school to look like my Storm Team and my Storm Team families by building that culture, that'd be a huge success for me. So I'm looking at like those people that I want everybody to be like. And if they see something they don't like, these are also the people that are just going to tell you and not be like, I hate this, I quit. They're going to say, the audio was horrible. If you fix that, we'll be super happy. Or whatever it is.
Yep.
So just to recap, because we're getting towards the end, we need to be recognizing that for the moment, this is and again, I hate saying it, but it's our new normal. So you should be settled in a little bit by now, but that doesn't mean don't do anything else. You should always be improving, whether it's the tech aspect, the way you're teaching, the way you're marketing. And yes, you should still be marketing something. You should be experimenting now that you have a product, experimenting with how to present that, how to sell that. Those are all the things you should be doing now. Looking forward, you should be planning for the worst. What happens when, the National Guard comes in and, points guns at you and says, go home or else? Do I think it's coming to that? I don't really think so. But if it does, be prepared. Also hope for the best. If you don't need all of these things, look for ways that what you're learning right now can affect your business positively if none of the worst comes to bear. And most importantly, and it's what John and I really started off today with, is make sure that you are not letting this get to you. It is a moment, it is a long moment in time, but it's still just a thing. Vent, be creative, talk to somebody, set up you got the Zoom set up now, use it to talk to your friends about non-business stuff. Sit around and have a drink. In my town, they're actually doing this thing called the virtual bar crawl, where all the businesses sent out little sample packets and went around and made a big circuit, delivered them, and then everybody went on Zoom and we all sampled. Well, I didn't participate, I was at home, but they all sampled like the pretzels from this bar, and they lightened up on beer sales, so had a beer from that bar, and they all did it for an entire day. That has value to your own mental health. So be taking care of yourself. What else are we talking about? What did I miss? What did we miss?
I think at this time, coming from a health coach, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself physically. Take care of yourself from a nutrition perspective. Take care of yourself mentally. You cannot tell me that you don't have extra time right now. Okay, like seriously, block the time, or my wife will be after you like like crazy. But block the time to get up, work out, do something. If you are physically training while you're teaching classes and stuff like that, because it's more demanding right now, don't take that as your physical training part of it. Okay, make sure you're setting some time for yourself. Make sure that you're feeding yourself properly. You're home a lot, and that's a big downfall. We tend to grab on the go. Well, I'm busy, I don't have time to. No, I'm making it a habit right now that I'm trying to cook at home every single day or every other day. Just don't make excuses, because when you're making excuses, your students, your team, your parents, everybody else will be making excuses as well. So take care of yourself, because
no, go ahead, Jeff.
Go ahead. You're the one person that's kind of holding up that ship, right? You're the captain on the ship. So lead by example.
And one other thing that John mentioned was talking to his accountant. Look, guys, there are some brilliant minds in the martial arts industry, but we're all martial artists. We're learning right alongside. Some of us are just a little ahead on the path. Be sure to get out of our own small gene pool. Don't listen to what John or I say. If we say, hey, our accountant said something, that doesn't mean go do it. That means go talk to your accountant. You want to set up awesome Zoom classes and make this your future? Don't listen to those of us doing Zoom classes, because we're just a week or two ahead of you. Get out of the martial arts industry. This is a wonderful opportunity for you to network with people, because everybody is opening up resources. So you want to learn how to do Zoom? There are businesses that focus on teaching you how to do professional level Zoom integrations. If you want to do marketing, stop looking even at martial arts marketing places. Go look at Frank Kern and heck, your local chamber of commerce probably has marketing people in it. Get out of our own funk. You'll learn a lot.
So we got to add something to that, Michael. You get what you pay for. Okay, you get what you pay for. So, you know how we've been talking about Skillz coaching and stuff like that? I just picked up 2 new clients over this last weekend because they're realizing like what we're dropping is like major for them. You know what I mean? Because again, we think differently and stuff like that. And you would think that people right now would be holding back or dropping out, right? No, no. Here's the thing. Pay for the learning that you got to do. Okay, what I mean? Pay for other stuff. So, for example, right now, my accountant pretty much told me mortgage companies will waive your mortgage for up to 6 months. Now, listen, I'm in Georgia. She's the one that told me. She knows my situation. So, get in touch with your accountant or know what your state laws are. Okay. The banks are waiving automobile loans for 90 days, and then they can revisit it again after 90 days. Your landlord will not kick you out. Okay, there was a whole threat that was going on, and I totally agree with it. And this threat came from a landlord that owns his martial art studio inside of his plaza that he owns. They're not going to evict you. It takes forever for a landlord to find a new member.
I'll tell you what, I just got an email from our landlord. So our landlord was very nice to proactively reach out to us and say, yeah, we got bills too. When's the rent due? Or, when's the rent coming? So we were honest and, same thing everybody else is doing. And I just got it back. Yeah, you should look into a small business loan. So not all landlords are created equally, guys. And if my landlord is watching, hey, I'll say it right to you. Don't be a tool. We're all in this together.
Exactly. So if you're able to save money because you were able to move your mortgage, because you were able to move your car payments, because, by the way, if you have automobiles for your after-school program, call the insurance company. They're not going to waive the whole entire premium, but they can down the premium.
Cindy posted about this. Let me pop that back up. So Cindy says, thank you for that advice from last week. They lowered their insurance bill from $485 a month to $106 a month for right now. Even if that's for 1 month, that's $300 and some odd dollars, almost $400 that you have to use.
Now, Sydney, take that money that you saved and go back and reinvest it in yourself and your studio. Like, for example, again, I'm throwing things out that's popping in my head. You can get Skillz coaching. You can get Zoom coaching. You can get an accountant that knows their stuff and hire them so they can help you do things faster. Our accountant is like, send me the information, I'll do it for you. Like, what kind of accountant would you like to have? Oh, here's the information, John, go do it for yourself. Or an accountant that says, I know what you're going through, let me do it for you. Why? Because now we don't have to file our taxes by April 15th. We've got until July 15th.
Yeah.
Right? So again, go and invest in yourself. Save the money from one area and go spend it on your company. Do more ads, do more social media. I still have Chris Rodriguez right now, who's doing my marketing on Facebook. I did not drop Chris. I did not drop my marketing. Why? It's not the time to drop it. Yeah. Should I be dropping it and saving that a lot of money? Of course, I should. But that's not how my brain thinks.
It's not a priority for me to cut my marketing.
No.
It's a priority.
That's when you want to boost your marketing more. So.
All right. Just I'm getting all my calendar notifications popping up here. So guys, I know we're a couple minutes over. Bottom line is this. Don't get comfortable for whatever this is right now. But don't get completely uncomfortable. Let it get to you. Find that middle way. We're martial artists. That's what we preach to our students. Find the middle way, right? Look forward and have at least some ideas of plans. And don't be afraid to pivot from one moment to the next. Also remember, we're all here together. Let's work together. Let's step aside from, all the pettiness and what if somebody sees my stuff and, well, what if my competitor finds out? There are no competitors right now.
Yep.
So let's work together and really, this is an opportunity for us to raise our industry as a whole from what it is to what it could be. So I encourage everybody to kind of work on that. And if you need us, we're here. All right. So I got a coaching call coming up in just a couple minutes. So
Me too.
I'm going to have to stop it there. If you guys have any questions or you need help with anything, please drop it in the comments, message us, email us, call us, something. Hit us in one of the private groups, whatever works best for you guys.
Awesome sauce.
Otherwise, I'm sure we will see you around sometime this week. If not, next week.
Peace out, everybody. Go crush your week. Don't settle. Go above and beyond.
That's it. Go get it, guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.